Maya Chen's boots echoed against the polished crystalline floor of Nexus Station as she made her final maintenance rounds. After 12 hours of replacing atmospheric filters and calibrating gravity plates, her shift was nearly over. The massive transport hub, located at the intersection of 3 major trade routes, never truly slept. But during the station's artificial night cycle, the usual chaos of a million beings from across the galaxy dimmed to a manageable roar. She paused near the last transport terminal, adjusting the tool belt that had been digging into her hip. The massive view screen above displayed departure times in 20 different languages, its soft blue glow casting strange shadows across the faces of various species hurrying past. A group of meridians floated by, their translucent bodies pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that Maya had learned indicated mild annoyance at a delayed departure. That's when she noticed the light. In the corner of the terminal, partially hidden behind a waste reclamation unit, a crystalline form was emanating irregular pulses of deep violet light. Maya had worked alongside enough Lumini to know this wasn't normal. Their natural bioluminescence typically maintained steady patterns of blue or green. This one's light was erratic, flickering like a malfunctioning hologram. She watched as a pair of Vexillian merchants walked past the creature, their sensory tentacles briefly registering the unusual light before they continued on their way. A maintenance drone hovered nearby, its sensors definitely detecting the anomaly, but its programming apparently didn't classify this as requiring intervention. Maya sighed, already knowing she was going to be late ending her shift. She approached carefully, keeping her movements slow and deliberate. The Lumini's crystalline surface was clouded, another bad sign. Up close, she could see microfractures running through its usually pristine geometric form. "Hey there," she said softly, activating her universal translator. "I'm Maya. Are you all right?" The violet pulses intensified briefly before dimming to an almost imperceptible glow. A weak harmonic tone emerged from the being, but Maya's translator couldn't make sense of it. The Lumini's natural language consisted of light patterns and crystalline resonances. This one's ability to communicate seemed severely compromised. Maya knelt down, ignoring the curious looks from passing travelers. She pulled out her maintenance scanner, recalibrating it to analyze crystalline structures. The readings made her breath catch. Microfractures throughout the being's core matrix, severe depletion of its natural energy reserves, and signs of rapid deterioration. "You need medical attention," she said, more to herself than the Lumini. She tapped her comm unit, trying to connect to emergency services. After 3 attempts, she finally got through to an automated system. Current wait time for non-critical cases, 47 standard hours. The pleasant artificial voice informed her. "If this is a true emergency, please provide species classification and authorization code." Maya swore under her breath. The Lumini weren't officially recognized citizens on Nexus Station. They were classified as transient non-commercial entities. Getting proper medical care would require mountains of paperwork and probably a small fortune in bribes. The crystalline being's light flickered again, weaker this time. Maya had seen enough emergency situations during her years in space to recognize when time was running out. She made a decision that would probably cost her job. "Hang on," she told the Lumini, quickly disconnecting her maintenance scanner from the station's network. "I'm going to help you, but we need to be careful about this." She opened a secure channel on her personal comm unit, hoping her old friend was still awake. "Hey Doc, remember when I helped you smuggle those contraband medical supplies past customs? Time to return the favor. How much do you know about crystalline xenobiology?" The Lumini's light pulsed once, almost like a thank you. Maya smiled, already planning the least monitored route to her friend's unofficial clinic in the station's lower levels. As she carefully helped the crystalline being into her maintenance cart, she glanced around at the steady stream of individuals passing by, all of them too focused on their own concerns to notice or care about a dying being in their midst. That was the thing about humans, she thought. They just couldn't walk past someone in trouble, even when it would be easier to look the other way. Her mother used to call it humanity's greatest strength and greatest weakness. Maya had never quite figured out which it was, but right now she didn't care. Someone needed help, and she could provide it. Sometimes it was that simple. As she guided her cart toward the maintenance shaft that would take them to the lower levels, Maya's mind was already racing through everything she'd need to do. Disable the shaft's security sensors, find a way to stabilize the Lumini's deteriorating matrix, avoid the routine security patrols, and somehow keep this entire operation off the official logs. It would be a long night, and tomorrow would probably be even longer once her supervisor noticed the unauthorized use of equipment. But as the Lumini's light pulsed weakly beside her, Maya knew she'd make the same choice again. Some things were more important than rules and regulations. She just hoped Doc was having a slow night and had enough quantum stabilizers in stock. Saving a dying crystalline being wasn't exactly covered in the station's maintenance manual. But then again, the most important things in life rarely came with instructions. The maintenance shaft's service elevator groaned as Maya guided her cart inside, silently praying the aged mechanism wouldn't choose this moment to break down. The Lumini's light had dimmed to a faint purple glow, barely visible in the shaft's emergency lighting. She pulled out her tablet, fingers flying across the surface as she initiated a maintenance diagnostic sequence, her standard cover for unauthorized trips to the lower levels. Authorization required for Level 7 access, the station's AI announced, its synthetic voice echoing off the metallic walls. Maintenance override Chen 7719. Maya responded, grateful she'd never gotten around to updating her credentials after the last system reset. Atmospheric recycler maintenance, Priority 3. The elevator hummed to life, beginning its descent into the station's shadowy underlevels. Maya kept one eye on the Lumini's deteriorating condition and another on her tablet's security feed. Getting caught now would mean more than just losing her job. Unauthorized medical treatment of non-citizens carried serious penalties in Nexus space. Her comm unit vibrated. Maya, you've lost your mind. Doc's gravelly voice came through. I'm a veterinarian, not a xenobiologist, and definitely not certified for crystalline entities. Zach, you're the only one I trust who might be able to help, Maya whispered, watching the level numbers tick down. Remember what you always say about medicine being universal? I was talking about carbon-based life forms. She could picture him running his hands through his perpetually messy gray hair. This is way beyond. Please, Maya cut him off. Its core matrix is failing. I'm sending you the scanner readings now. A long pause followed. Maya held her breath, watching the dying alien's light flutter like a candle in the wind. Finally, Zach's resigned sigh came through. Fine, but you'll need to stop at Supply Station 23 first. I need quantum stabilizers, and my last supplier got deported. The old Treshik who runs the place owes me a favor. The elevator shuddered to a stop at Level 7. Maya quickly checked the security feeds before pushing her cart into the dimly lit corridor. Down here, far from the polished surfaces of the upper levels, the station showed its age. Pipes leaked mysterious fluids, and the air had a permanent metallic taste. Slight problem, Maya muttered as she navigated the winding passageways. I'm kind of broke until payday. Of course you are, Zach grumbled. Look, just tell Crix that Dr. Reynolds sent you. He'll know what it means. And Maya, hurry. The supply station was really more of a hole in the wall, barely visible behind a tangle of power conduits. A weathered Treshik sat behind a cluttered counter, his scaled skin showing signs of age. Four eyes blinked independently as Maya approached. We're closed, he stated flatly. Dr. Reynolds sent me, Maya said quietly, glancing over her shoulder. He said you'd understand. All four eyes focused on her suddenly. The Treshik, presumably Crix, leaned forward, examining her with unsettling intensity. The human doctor who fixed my Grand Clutch's wing malformation, without charging. Maya nodded, trying not to show her relief. He needs quantum stabilizers. It's urgent. Crix's eyes narrowed. Show me. Reluctantly, Maya pulled back the cover on her cart. The Lumini's fading light caught the Treshik's attention immediately. He inhaled sharply, all four eyes widening. "Foolish human," he muttered, but he was already moving, pulling boxes from hidden compartments. "You risk much for a stranger, wouldn't you?" Maya asked. Crix paused, his scaled hands full of carefully packed stabilizers. "No," he said simply, "but perhaps that is why we need your kind." He pushed the supplies across the counter. "Tell the doctor we are even now." Back in the corridor, Maya's comm buzzed again. "Change of plans," Zack said urgently. "Security sweep heading your way. Take the maintenance tunnel through Section 8. Maya swore, checking her tablet. Sure enough, a security team was methodically working their way through the level. The maintenance tunnel would add precious minutes to their journey, but getting caught wasn't an option. She found the access panel and quickly disconnected its alarm system, a trick she'd learned during her first week on the job. The tunnel was narrow, forcing her to pull the cart instead of pushing it. The Lumini's light was barely visible now, and the scanner showed its core matrix approaching critical instability. "Hold on," she whispered to her passenger. "Just a little further." They emerged into a section of the station Maya had never visited, a maze of abandoned storage units and forgotten equipment. Zack was waiting at a rusty door marked Quarantine Storage, his white hair wild, and his medical coat stained with substances she didn't want to identify. His eyes widened as he saw the Lumini's condition. "Inside, quickly," he ordered, already pulling on specialized gloves. "And Maya, if we survive this, you owe me the biggest drink in Nexus space." "If we survive this," Maya replied, helping him transfer the crystalline being to an examination table, "I'll buy you the whole damn bar." The door sealed behind them with a hiss, and Maya found herself holding her breath as Zack began his work. She hadn't known the old vet long, just a few chance encounters in the station's less reputable establishments, but she'd seen enough to know he was brilliant, if unorthodox. As she watched him carefully begin applying the quantum stabilizers, Maya realized something that made her smile despite the tension. On a station full of 1,000,000 beings from across the galaxy, it had taken a worn-out maintenance worker and a disgraced veterinarian to stop and help a dying stranger. Maybe that's what made humans different. Not that they were stronger or smarter or more advanced. They weren't. But they just couldn't seem to help themselves when it came to helping others, even at their own expense. It was probably going to get her into serious trouble one day. But as the Lumini's light began to stabilize, pulsing a slightly stronger violet, Maya decided that some kinds of trouble were worth it. Hours crept by in Doc Zack's makeshift clinic. Maya paced the small space between outdated medical equipment and mysterious containers, occasionally helping him adjust instruments or hand over supplies. The Lumini's light had stabilized but remained worryingly dim, its crystalline surface still showing signs of structural damage. "This is fascinating," Zack muttered, adjusting his scanner settings. "The internal matrix isn't just deteriorating, it's been purposely modified. Someone's tried to encode massive amounts of data into its crystalline structure." Maya leaned closer, watching patterns of light pulse through the alien's translucent form. "Is that what's killing it?" "Him," Zack corrected, not looking up from his work. "And yes, the modifications are incompatible with the natural crystal matrix. It's like trying to run quantum software on ancient Earth hardware. The system simply can't handle it." A soft chiming sound emerged from the Lumini, different from its earlier distressed tones. Maya's universal translator crackled to life, struggling to interpret the complex harmonics. "Warning. Must reach. Council." The translation was broken, but the urgency was clear. "Star death. Coming." Maya and Zack exchanged worried looks. "Star death?" she asked. "What does that mean?" Before either could speculate further, the clinic's security system pinged. Someone was accessing the outer door. Zack quickly dimmed the lights while Maya positioned herself between the door and their patient, her hand instinctively reaching for her maintenance tool that could double as a weapon if needed. The door slid open to reveal a tall figure in station security armor. Maya's heart sank until the figure removed their helmet, revealing a familiar face. "Sarah," Maya whispered in disbelief. Chief Security Officer Sarah Chen, Maya's older sister, stepped inside, letting the door seal behind her. "You're getting sloppy, little sister. Did you really think I wouldn't notice unauthorized maintenance overrides in restricted areas?" "Sarah, I can explain." "Save it." Sarah cut her off, but her stern expression softened as she saw the Lumini. "Is this why you're risking your career and probably your freedom?" Before Maya could respond, the Lumini's light suddenly intensified, filling the room with brilliant purple illumination. A stream of harmonics filled the air, overwhelming Maya's translator. Sarah's eyes widened as she pulled out her own more sophisticated device. Critical warning. Stellar anomaly detected. Nexus star showing signs of imminent nova. Data gathered during routine energy collection. Council must be informed. Evacuation necessary. The light dimmed again, the Lumini's strength clearly fading. Sarah stood motionless, her security training warring with the implications of what they'd just heard. "A nova," Zack whispered. "That's impossible. Nexus star is stable. It's why they built the station here." "Apparently not," Sarah said grimly. She ran a hand through her short-cropped hair, a nervous gesture Maya recognized from childhood. "This information needs to reach Station Command immediately. But officially, this Lumini doesn't exist," Maya finished. "And unauthorized medical treatment of non-citizens is a serious offense. They might dismiss the warning entirely just because of how they received it." Sarah nodded slowly. "Which is why we need to be smart about this." She pulled out her security tablet and began typing. "I'm logging an official discovery of suspicious behavior in the maintenance systems. That gives us cause to investigate these levels. During our search, we'll happen to encounter a distressed non-citizen with vital security information." Maya felt a smile tugging at her lips. "Careful, sis. You're starting to sound as rule-bendy as me." "I'm not bending rules," Sarah replied primly. "I'm ensuring vital security intelligence reaches appropriate authorities through proper channels. The fact that it helps your illegal patient is incidental." Zack cleared his throat. "That's wonderful, but our friend here still needs medical attention. These stabilizers are a temporary fix at best." Sarah's fingers flew across her tablet. "Already on it. Once this becomes an official security matter, we can requisition proper medical care. I know a xenobiologist in Medical Base 7 who owes me a favor. She's discreet and won't ask too many questions." Maya watched her sister work, feeling a familiar mix of admiration and amusement. Sarah had always been the proper one, following rules and procedures to the letter. But underneath that rigid exterior was the same basic humanity they shared, the inability to ignore someone in need, even when it would be easier to look the other way. The Lumini's light pulsed weakly, and Maya placed a hand on its cool crystalline surface. "Hang in there," she whispered. "Help is coming. Real help this time." As Sarah coordinated their official response and Zack continued his makeshift treatment, Maya reflected on how this had escalated from helping a single stranger to potentially saving the entire station. But that's how it often went with humans. One small act of kindness rippling outward in unexpected ways. She just hoped they could keep their patient alive long enough to get this warning to people who could act on it. The sight of her rule-abiding sister fabricating official reports to help an unauthorized alien made her optimistic. Sometimes the most human thing to do was knowing when to break the rules. The journey to Medical Base 7 was the longest 20 minutes of Maya's life. Sarah had arranged for its secure prisoner transport, their cover for moving the Lumini without questions. As they moved through the station's winding corridors, Maya couldn't help but notice how different everything looked from this side of the law, with her sister's security clearance smoothing their path. Dr. Nilani met them at a private entrance, her antennae twitching with barely contained curiosity. The Andorian xenobiologist took one look at their crystalline patient and immediately began preparing specialized equipment. Fascinating modification to the matrix structure, she muttered, multiple displays coming to life around her. But why would anyone? Oh, her antennae suddenly went rigid. Oh dear, you can read the data? Sarah asked, stepping forward. Enough to know we have the serious problem. Dr. Nilani's fingers danced across holographic controls. The lumini are natural energy collectors. They can safely absorb and store stellar radiation. This one was conducting routine collection at the outer corona when they detected the anomaly. The data was too critical to risk being lost in normal transmission channels, so they encoded it directly into their matrix. Sacrificing themselves to deliver the warning, Maya said softly, watching the lumini's still weak light pulse. Indeed. The doctor's expression was grim. And they were right to do so. These readings, the stellar instability is accelerating. We have weeks at most before Nexus star goes nova. Sarah was already on her comm unit, using command codes Maya had never seen to reach the highest levels of station security. But even as her sister worked official channels, Maya noticed something else happening in the medical bay. Dr. Nilani's assistants, a diverse group of species from across the galaxy, had stopped their routine work to gather around the lumini. Word was spreading, quietly but quickly, about what this stranger had risked to warn them. A young Valexian nurse approached, her feathers ruffled with concern. "We can help stabilize the matrix," she offered. "Our medical crystals operate on similar principles. The min-coral symbiote in my secondary brain could help process the encoded data more efficiently," another assistant added. "Less strain on the host matrix." One by one, members of different species stepped forward, offering unique insights and abilities. Dr. Nilani coordinated their efforts while simultaneously helping Sarah prepare the data for station authorities. Maya found herself relegated to observer status, watching in amazement as the impromptu team worked to save their patient. "Humans," a gravelly voice said beside her. Maya turned to find Crix, the Treshik supplier, standing there, more quantum stabilizers clutched in his clawed hands. "Always causing trouble. How did you?" "News travels fast in lower levels," he interrupted. "But that is not important. What matters is that you made us see. Made us remember." "Remember what?" The old Treshik's eyes blinked in sequence. "That we were all strangers once. That someone, somewhere, had to be first to stop and help." He shuffled forward to join the medical team. "Also, brought more stabilizers. Better quality than last ones. Don't tell Doctor I had these." Maya felt a grin spreading across her face as she watched the scene unfold. The medical bay had become a hub of activity, with species that normally barely acknowledged each other working seamlessly together. The lumini's light was growing stronger, its matrix gradually stabilizing as different therapeutic approaches were combined in ways that probably violated dozens of medical protocols. Sarah appeared at her side, looking both exhausted and satisfied. "Station command is assembled. They're reviewing the data now. Emergency evacuation protocols are being prepared, just in case the analysis confirms everything. All this because we stopped to help one stranger that everyone else ignored." Maya mused. "That's the real virus humans brought to the galaxy," Sarah said with a small smile. "Compassion. It's highly contagious, apparently." A harmonic tone filled the air, stronger than before, almost musical. The lumini's light had shifted to a deep blue, and Maya's translator picked up clear words this time. Gratitude. Connection. Hope. Dr. Nilani's antennae quivered with excitement as she read the medical scans. "The matrix is stabilizing. The encoding damage can be repaired. They're going to survive." Maya felt tears in her eyes as she watched members of a dozen different species celebrate together. Her simple act of stopping to help had sparked something larger, a reminder that beneath their different biologies and cultures, they were all just people capable of caring about each other. A new alert sounded on Sarah's security comm. "Command confirms the data," she announced, her voice carrying across the now quiet medical bay. "Evacuation orders are being prepared. The station's early warning systems might give us enough time to save everyone." Maya looked at their patient, now surrounded by beings who hours ago would have walked past without a second glance. "No," she said softly. "We already saved everyone. We just didn't know it at the time." 3 months later, Maya stood at the observation deck of New Nexus Station, watching ships arrive from across the galaxy. The massive structure, hastily constructed in a stable system 2 sectors away, was already bustling with the organized chaos of 1 million relocated beings. Behind her, through the reinforced viewport, the distant light of Nexus Star pulsed ominously, its instability now visible even to the naked eye. "Quite a view," Sarah said, joining her at the window. Her security uniform was new, but she looked more comfortable in it than ever. "Hard to believe it all started with you being late for the end of your shift." Maya smiled, remembering that night that felt like a lifetime ago. "How's the evacuation progressing?" "Ahead of schedule, actually. Turns out when species work together instead of maintaining their usual territorial squabbles, we can accomplish quite a lot." Sarah's comm unit chimed. It seemed to do that constantly these days. "Speaking of which, the council is ready for you." Maya smoothed her own new uniform. Diplomatic liaison was quite a step up from maintenance worker. "I still don't understand why they want me there." "You're the one who got the warning to command. Dr. Nalani and her team are the ones who saved our friend's life." "True," Sarah agreed as they walked toward the council chambers. "But you were the first one to stop. Everything else followed from that one simple act." The council chambers were packed with representatives from every major species in this sector of space. Maya recognized many faces from the medical bay that night, all of them now holding positions of authority in the evacuation effort. Even Crix was there, his scaled form adorned with the formal robes of a Treshik trade representative. At the center of the chamber, a familiar crystalline form pulsed with healthy blue light. The Lumini had recovered fully, their matrix now stable, and their warning delivered. But they had chosen to remain, working to help coordinate the massive relocation effort. The chamber fell silent as Maya entered. The Lumini's light shifted to a warm purple, a color she now knew indicated friendship and respect. Their harmonic speech filled the air, perfectly translated. "We gather to mark a significant moment. The evacuation of Nexus Station will be completed ahead of projected deadlines, saving millions of lives. But today we recognize something perhaps even more important, the power of a single act of compassion." Maya felt her face grow warm as the Lumini continued. "In our society, we have a saying, the greatest currents begin with the smallest ripples. Humanity has brought many things to our galactic community, their technology, their culture, their unique perspectives. But perhaps their greatest contribution is their persistent, sometimes illogical, but always admirable compulsion to help others, even at great personal risk, even when it defies protocol, even when everyone else looks away." The chamber filled with harmonic tones as other Lumini representatives joined in, creating a symphony of light and sound. The human Maya Chen showed us that true civilization is not measured by technological advancement or economic power, but by our willingness to stop and help a stranger in need. Her action sparked a chain of events that not only saved countless lives, but reminded us all of who we can be at our best. Maya felt Sarah squeeze her hand as the Lumini announced the real purpose of this gathering, the establishment of a new interspecies emergency response protocol, mandating that no being in distress could be ignored or denied aid based on their species or status. They were calling it the Chen Protocol. As applause filled the chamber, expressed in dozens of different ways by dozens of different species, Maya thought about that night back on the old station. She hadn't stopped to help because she wanted to be a hero or change galactic society. She'd stopped because someone needed help, and it was the human thing to do. Perhaps that was humanity's real gift to the galaxy, not their strength or their technology or their determination, but their simple, stubborn insistence that helping others was always the right choice, no matter the circumstances. The distant star that had sparked all this would soon end its life in a spectacular nova. But something new had been born in its dying light, a reminder that in the vast, cold expanse of space, the warmth of compassion could bridge any distance and unite any species. Sometimes it just took one human to stop and show the way.